It is in the chat. And I know you can't access it just yet. You should be able to access it now. Two little excerpts I keep thinking about. I've been thinking about them since before the break because of you guys. Little excerpts I keep thinking about. I've been thinking about them since before. Yeah, I put the. Now I'm live streaming because it seems like some people can't join, more than just one. I don't know. Take a minute, read through the reading. This first excerpt is from John Wooden. He was a coach at UCLA. He won something like 10 or 11 championships in college basketball. He had something like a couple of perfect seasons in a row, back to back. Something like that. Basically dominated. And the second one is a book about the Dalai Lama and his conversations with an Archbishop, Desmond Tutu. It's okay. It's not. I think he'll be all right. Give me a nod. Are you guys, did you finish the reading? I want to share this because like I was thinking about the diagnostic I gave yesterday. And you know, there was that urge for like, oh, is this a good score? Is this a bad score? Kind of evaluating yourselves. And my whole goal right here, especially since I didn't intend to grade it, was to just like present this to you as just information. And like the good and the bad is kind of a judgment we add to that. And you know, where we stand relative to others, that's all like not stuff that we can control, but you know, what you do with that information and whether you're looking into, you know, what you got wrong, the patterns, if you're making similar mistakes, that's all under your control. That's all more important, more valuable, more useful information than just like, oh, I got 10 out of 22 right or whatever. Like that doesn't mean anything. I don't know if you guys have ever, I got a 96 on the Spanish regions. I can't speak Spanish, right? That the number doesn't mean what we sometimes think it means. So I kind of wanted to kind of make that point, and definitely about the arrows. If I post something that stresses you out, that you can't control, but you can kind of control how you react to that. And I think that's really useful to kind of move in that direction. It's not automatic, but I would encourage you to move in that direction. That's what I want to share. That's a lesson for today, and I will refer to these things because it's just it's a recurring theme. Don't worry about getting above a 20. That don't matter. In terms of next week, we're gonna basically do something similar to what we did yesterday. I'll open up a progress check and ask you to do the free response questions, and then like use class time the next day to go over that stuff. And I'll try to make it so that you can basically do what's useful for you. If you have recommendations on a better way to structure this, please let me know. But essentially, my goal for today was to put you into breakout rooms so that you can review together And if there was anything else that you guys couldn't understand or explain to each other in your group, then you'd bring that to me in the whole group. If there was like one or three questions, maybe open up the AP Classroom thing right now. If there was like one or two questions that you really wanted to go over, maybe it would be better if we did it together and then I put you into groups. Can anyone identify what those questions would be? If there was like one burning question that we all want to go over, like number one was kind of tricky for me. But if there's any other questions like that, we can go over it. But otherwise, I could just put you into groups and then see what happens. 17 was hard. Any other? Let me open this up again. So any other questions we definitely want to go over? And we'll worry about the FRQs later because I didn't even like post answers. Not everyone got a chance to look at that. So FRQs for later. Just focusing on the multiple choice. Anything that we want to go over together? Website is very slow. All right, let me share my screen and I will scroll through. So you can kind of, this is number one. The spring hangs further down from its equilibrium point, then it compresses upwards. So that little difference there is what they're asking to calculate. I also overlooked that they're not talking about the block spring earth system. It's just the block in the spring. So that's why this 2mgl1 is a distractor. This is number two about the experiments. Maybe just jot it down if there's one that you want to go over as class, or throw it in the chat. There's a couple of graphing questions. Amplitude. How to get the spring constant. How to determine the magnitude of the force from this position versus time graph. Change in kinetic energy. Max spring force. Reading this graph. What will be the motion? Spring constant from the graph. Some experimental stuff. Period of a pendulum. Am I going too fast? Slope of the graphs. I'm trying to do this in the most efficient way. I don't know if I can just. Okay, so I'm going to put you into groups. See if you can explain it first yourself. I don't know if there's anything burning that. It seems like 7 was something that a couple people wanted to go over. But so I'm going to put you into groups. The goal here is like you explaining it to each other is kind of like another way to practice this. If you understand this well, then you can explain it and do it in a kind of a quick way, quick direct way, and you can kind of test each other. If you really understand a problem, then you should be able to explain it to someone else. So even if you got it right, can you explain it? That's kind of the test. So that's why I want to put you into groups. I will say for number 7, basically they're giving you a linear restoring force. This is something that looks like negative kx, except it's in the vertical direction. And so, when it's you see it's crossing it's positive when it's below, let's say 0.07 meters, and this force is negative when it's above 0.07 meters. So the fact that it's almost like its equilibrium is 0.07, and the force will direct it towards that point, 0.07. So that's why this is something that will oscillate. It's a force of the form F equals negative kx, and that's what causes simple harmonic motion. So that was like number 7. I'm gonna open up the breakout rooms, and I'll give you guys like 15 minutes-ish. If you go over all the questions and then you're just stuck, then come back to the main. I guess that'll work. Okay. Breakout rooms should be open. Oh wait, what? The questions aren't loading? I'll throw the PDF on Google Classroom. Unfortunately, it has all the answers on it. Do you guys have questions or anything?